All righty, everyone. Welcome. Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of the Power Up Stream. Tonight we've got our guests with us. We all know that it's really fun to be that friend with the witty comments. So tonight, the Next Level Improv team will be helping us work on those skills, and we'll be talking about how improv is related to play and social skills and various things. So let me allow Julie Cotton to introduce herself, the founder of Next Level Improv.
Hi there, Brian. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. Oh, yay. Thanks, team. Yeah, I'm Julie Cotton. That's pretty much it. I mean, the intro is self-sufficient. I guess I'm a play artist. I've loved playing my whole life since I'm a kid. So I just kind of kept that energy going and I focused it into improv. I was actually trained classically as an actress. My undergrad is in theater education. My master's degree is in acting from Rutgers, an MFA in fine arts. And I was like kind of bored with the plays, full length plays. And I really, really loved improv because it was short and sweet and fun. And you're like writing the script as you go live and in action. So I just fell in love with improv and been doing that pretty much ever since.
That's awesome, Julie. So what made you want to start Next Level Improv then?
Oh, that's a great question. Next Level came about because I was part of this heart space group that was like a heart-centered meditation networking group that met in the evenings. And the owner, founder of that was also part of a rehabilitation center. And he was looking for alternative therapies to support his population once they kind of got clean and got healthy again. What were some positive aspects or activities that they could be doing to put back into their lives to kind of replace negative habits that they were doing. And so that's why it was next level. It's like, oh, let's do this thing that's actually taking your life to the next level.
That's awesome, and that's what our event is all about too. Is how can people find those opportunities to connect with something they enjoy. What kind of experiences can they share with people, and how can they really improve their life? So that's great. So what does improv mean, like on a textbook level, or people may have heard of improv shows, but what actually is improv?
Great. Okay, I'm going to actually ask my team to jump in on this too, because I think everybody has a little different answer to that question. Improv for me is life. It's what we've been doing all day, every day, our whole life. We make stuff up, right? We're storytellers, and it's all done in the moment, live, real time. You don't have a script. Like I wake up every morning and I don't have my script next to my bed that says, oh, Julie yawns and stretches, right? Like, so we've actually been improvising our whole lives. And the art form of improv is a practice for me in being present with the stories that I'm telling. And there's a whole bunch of like techniques and principles that we can use to play, pretend together and make believe. But I'd love to hear what my team thinks about all that. What's improv for you guys?
Absolutely.
I'll go. Hi, I'm Carlos Rivera. Hello. I think of Hi. I think of improv as creating a story on stage live with a scene partner or scene partners, and even the audience. It depends on what kind of improv you're doing. And sometimes just creating a story on your own if you're doing solo improv, but it's just creating a story and using the fundamentals of storytelling in order to do so. Also, it's about being comfortable with adapting on stage when you're thrown curveballs, and just learning how to getting so comfortable with those curveballs that curveballs will still be thrown, but you'll just you'll have practice in dealing with them and not freaking out when they come your way. And maybe you'll catch them and maybe you'll miss, but you won't freeze up. So that's what I think of improv. It's fun.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Robin Thompson. And the first thing that you learn in improv is yes and. And the yes and is, to me, is accepting the reality that has been established in the scene. So it actually translates into life, because instead of resisting what is happening to you in the moment by being upset and mad and angry and all the different negative emotions, we learn to accept what is happening right now. And either we can, go with what's happening, or slightly change the trajectory of what's happening, but always accepting the reality of the moment. So that's what I love about improv.
Yeah, that's super awesome. And some things that I take from what you guys have said is, as a gamer myself, I think of the training we do, and like an athlete, the training we do to prepare, like the Carlos said, to prepare for those situations where you don't know how to handle yourself. And what, like in baseball, it's literally what happens when the pitcher throws you a curveball. And you have to adjust your entire body to be able to hit that. Or like when I play Rocket League, where am I going to hit the ball, and where's the enemy team, where are my opponent's going to be, and when they change that up, how do I react, so that way I can be ready to put my teammates in a better spot. And then also, obviously, you can take these things and extrapolate from them. I'm loving the talk of positive energy, and taking the situation, the reality of the situation, and making an improvement on it, or changing the trajectory, because it gives you a new power, and it reveals the power within yourself, from your attitude and various different things that you have to affect your reality. It may not be what you want it, but you can do your best to change it, to affect change. So I think improv is great for gamers and for all sorts of people. So I'm really excited to have you all on tonight, and I would love to have you all do a showcase for us. I see we have another member of your group, Eric, waiting in the lobby. I can bring him in as well.
We have an Eric here. Awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I think that might be Brian under a different login. I think he was having some troubles joining us. So yeah, let's let him in. Let's see who it is. Let's improvise.
Absolutely. I'll let him in, and then I will let you four take the floor for now.
Sweet.
And
love it.
Maybe after I watch you guys can invite me back in, but tell us what improv is all about, why don't you? Oh, and on that note, so this isn't just an improv showcase. It's a showcase of Next Level Improv's game, Improv Against Normality, right? So why don't you explain that real quick while I bring Eric in?
Awesome. Okay. So yes, Improv Against Normality. Why be normal? Especially now, right? Like, because we're defining the new normal all the time. And welcome. Yay, you made it. Brian's here. He's totally improvising. He's using Eric's phone. I love it. So Improv Against Normality was a vision that came to me during a meditation. I'm also a healing artist as well as a performing artist. And I was asking the question, how do I share improv with more people in the world? Because I'm just one person, and I do a lot of in-person trainings. I use improv in transformational leadership, and the applications of improv I use are kind of out of the norm. It's applied improv. And I wanted to be able to share with more people. So how do I do that? And this game came in like a download. It was like, oh, I could just make it. Improv is a game. It's a compilation of games, but this was a specific card game, like a game that would travel, and it tried to make the definitions or the instructions simple enough that people could follow. So I did this 30-city national tour with this. I got the idea on November 22nd, I remember, and I took it to the printer. I totally made an Excel sheet with all the card ideas. There's 500 cards, 100 per 5 different colors. You've got who, what, where, why scenario cards, kind of the basics of storytelling. And I took it to a printer. They printed a copy. I had a prototype by the 5th of December. And then I was in a mutual friend of ours, TJ's filming studio. First time anybody had ever played the game. We played it live, and they filmed it, and we made an Indiegogo campaign crowdfunding video for it. And then I started a 30-city national tour where I was like, do these instructions work? Does this make sense for people who never played improv? I had over 300 people from all over the nation, different walks of life, introverts, entrepreneurs, realtors, other actors. And we came up with what is now Improv Against Normality. So that's the story of that.
That is awesome. And that's great. And Julie is now here locally and also travels a fair bit. So that's really awesome to have someone like her in our community. And so without further ado, I will let you all take the show.
Awesome sauce. Thank you, Brian. And thanks for everybody being here. So I want to really quickly, before I jump in to play with all of you, I want to introduce you to the players. I'm Julie Cotton with Next Level Improv, and I have joining me from Florida, sunny South Florida, I have Robin Thompson, who is a member of Improv U. So welcome, Robin. She's been performing improv for 4.5 years now. Yeah, awesome sauce. Okay, and then Carlos Rivera, I met in Miami, although now he lives in Chicago doing improv. And you have been doing improv for how long, my friend?
Lots.
More than this many. More than this many. And then Carlos and I have done some musical improv together. He helped me when I was becoming a transformational trainer to do some fundraising with improv. He and a troop of buddies drove all the way up from Miami to probably about an hour and a half to help. It was such an awesome gesture. So this is a great example of a principle in improv called I've Got Your Back. Right? And how do I make your scene partner look amazing? How do I make, so these guys are improvisers and they always have my back and they are pros at making each other look amazing. And someone that does that better than anybody is Brian, Dr. Soul Soother in the house. I met Brian in a transformational leadership training and he is a recovered chiropractor living in Tennessee right now, a very spiritually minded man, spiritually hearted man, and loves to play. So Brian, thank you so much for being here tonight. So he's bringing in more of the healing arts aspect, though don't we all love to play? So that being said, without further ado, I know Brian's got his game. I don't know if he has it with him. He might not have brought it down to Florida with him. He's actually Tennessee based right now, but he's visiting Florida. So he and Robin.
Would you like me to get it from my car?
No, we will use it here. Brian doesn't have a set either, and I don't know if Carlos has his with him either. So we're going to play the game. How this works, at least by the rules, now we might also adapt the rules because improv is uber flexible, is that somebody would be the director. Or, you know, in a live improv show, it would be the MC, right? This would be like a Drew Carey for those of you who watch Whose Line Is It Anyway? So I'll do that for now, and I'll let Robin, she can volley with me back and forth maybe because she's the other one that has her set with her. The black cards are what the MC or the director would pull. So I would shuffle these, and I'm going to pull a scenario card. So that sets the scene for my actors. They'll know what's all the shooting for. Okay, so you are at an awards ceremony. I recognize that might be backwards. So for some of you who can read backwards, kudos to you. They're at an awards ceremony. All right, fantastic. So Robin, you have your deck with you. So Robin can play for realsies. She would pull one of each of the cards. Okay. The cards that we have are character. So we have a character card. We have an object card or an activity, what's a physical life of the character, and a location card, and a want card. So what do I want? That's like, what's my motivation, right? Okay, so these are the basics of storytelling: who, what, where, why. But that's what we want to know when we meet anyone, right? We're watching a movie, and within the first, couple seconds, if not minutes, if not seconds of the movie, we know where we are, we know who to be focused on. All that is done visually. And in improv, when we're in person, we can do a lot of that visually. When we're now adapting to virtual life, we're going to do some of that with our voices. So tools that you have at your disposal when you play pretend anywhere in the world are your body, voice, and your imagination. Those are things you always have with you no matter what. So you will always be able to play no matter where you find yourself in the world. Even if you're, sheltering at home, you can still play because you have your body, your voice, and your imagination. So we're going to use those three things to play pretend together in an awards ceremony. You guys ready? Robin, pull whatever card you want. She would pull all four. This is how the game is written, that you would pull one of each. Yeah. Look at the scenario, which is at an awards ceremony, and then she'd be like, "Oh, I like this character for that scenario," and she would give that card to the director. Since we're virtual and not everybody has the deck, I will get to pull for you. What? Okay, so And when I do that, I just ask you for one card. You don't pull all four, so you don't have choices. If you are pulling all four, why I do that in the game is because in a live show, you're going to get, when you ask the audience for a suggestion, everybody's going to say a bunch of stuff at the same time, right? And it's usually either the director, the caller, or one of the actors that decides which one they're going to go with. These cards are simulating as much as possible what it's like for the improviser to be live in a real improv show. Okay, so Robin's simulating that by picking one of each. She's got her choice. You boys are going to tell me which one do you want? Do you want a who, a what, a where, or a why?
I want the motivation.
Motivation. What's my motivation? I see. Oh, we're at an award ceremony and you want to seem cool.
Okay.
That seems appropriate. How about for you, Brian?
What?
Oh, you want a what? What you want? Oh, you got yoga mat.
Oi!
You're at an award ceremony, yoga mat. We have I want to be thought of as cool. And Robin, what did you pull?
A character. Oh, do you want me to show you the character?
I want you to show me. Yes. Let us know. So, yeah, go ahead.
All right. I pulled an Airbnb superhost.
How fantastic. I love it. Okay, perfect. And this is a great question because this came up on the road too. Be like, oh, well, I don't want to tell you. And then we'd be more like charades where we're trying to guess it, which of course is a variation that you do with this game. It would be super fun to guess. However, with this structure especially, and if we're making our scene partners look amazing, it's important for us to know what the other person is up to, because we can help them tell the story the way they're telling it. So like if I know that Brian has got yoga mats going on, then I can like set him up to win, right? If I know that Carlos wants to look cool, I could either worship him like he's this amazing guru guy, or I could be like, what, you know, you're you got your pants on backwards and inside out. What's the problem here, right? Like, and I can give him the direct opposite of that. So when I know what you're up to, it helps me as an actor tell the story with you. Make sense? All right. So you're at an award ceremony. Everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and action.
No big deal, but I've actually been nominated for director, producer, and writer of the same movie. Just FYI.
On the yoga mat and off the yoga mat.
Well, that's so wonderful. You know, I won every award that Airbnb has for a superhost.
You ought to get an award. Have you come to did you do a yoga class to become a super host?
Well, I must stay relaxed to service my customers properly. So I install yoga rooms in all of my Airbnbs.
I once did yoga at the Dalai Lama's Airbnb. No big deal.
Oh, no. I heard you're like the super cool person that goes to the super host Airbnb places, you know?
Yeah.
You know, the Dalai Lama actually stayed at one of my Airbnbs once.
Was that your place? Oh my God, he was doing yoga there. Oh,
we did yoga together.
Oh my God, that was you too. What?
You know, speaking of the Dalai Lama, when I go to the restroom, he actually functions as my seat filler. No big deal.
What? That's so cool. It's hot.
And scene. Yes. Way to go. Awesome job, you guys. Sweet. So typically a scene will go anywhere from 30 seconds to you could let it go on and on and on, especially if you have improvisers that are able to keep the ball in the air, so to speak, right? We want to kind of keep that volley. You guys did a great job of give and take. They weren't talking over each other. All of that is part of how we make each other look amazing. We listen to what was given and then we add our thing, or someone helps add our thing. So great job, you guys. Are you ready to play yet, Brian? Or you feel like you got this?
I'll give it a go.
Okay, sweet. Awesome. Robin, do you want to go ahead and be the director this time and pull a scenario card for us?
Sure. Okay, a scenario card. Okay, this is for two people. Oh,
well, maybe we could always play background. Actually, that's a perfect example. Let's do it because I want to show people how they can do that. Some people often have that same reaction.
All right. A wants to be noticed and B wants to disappear.
Fantastic. A wants to be noticed. B wants to disappear. Cool. So let's talk about that for a second before we pull cards. Just like in a movie or an episodic of some kind, you have your kind of like who's in the front, who's in the main set, right? Who's up front. This is who the scene's about, A and B, right? That's what we have. Now, to help flesh out that world, if we wanted to include all the actors, we still could. We don't have to. You don't have to pick, the director doesn't have to choose all the actors every time. You can just pick 2. You could pick 3. If you have 20 people in the room and it makes sense, like you're at a family reunion or something, you could have everybody come in as long as people know how to give and take. And you're able to, everybody able to contribute. You don't have people that are like hogging the scene. So we can have an A and a B, and then we also have fillers, or we could have a background, or we could have people that help give us a context, because we don't really know where they are or what's going on, right? Like we only know that somebody wants to be noticed and somebody, doesn't want that to happen. Like, so it's, what was the other part of it? See, listen to me, listening. A wants to be noticed, B wants to disappear.
B wants to disappear.
Okay. So then we could help them either be noticed or disappear by having walk-ons, by having additional characters, or we could be like a bird or something that comes and like poops on somebody because we noticed that they were there, right where I was supposed to be going to bathroom. Right? So we could literally have all of us come in and out many, many times, even playing different characters. So just know that we're not limited to what the card says. Improv is all about, how do I think outside the box? My initial take is that, that's only 2 people. And yes, of course, it can be 2 people. It can also be all of us and many more. So cool. A wants to disappear, or no, A wants to be noticed, B wants to disappear. Who wants what kind of card? We've got who, what, where, and why.
I'll take a who.
A who in the house. I'm going to shuffle the who cards. Horton, here's a who. Oh, you're an Uber driver.
Oh.
Uber driver. Do. Awesome sauce. Who else wants what?
Why?
Yep. Why? What's the point of all of this? Why do we just keep going?
It seems kind of tubular.
You want to outsmart the enemy.
Oh yeah, I do.
You want to outsmart the enemy. We have an Uber driver. I want to outsmart the enemy. Carlos, how about for you?
Aware.
Aware. Robin, you want to pull his where?
Paintball course.
A what course?
Paintball course.
Paintball. Got it.
So we have paintball course, Uber driver. I want to outsmart the enemy, and I will pull who as well. Ooh, I got HVAC installer. We have an Uber driver. We have an HVAC installer. We have we're on a paintball course, and we have somebody who wants to outsmart the enemy. That's so appropriate. I love this. Like, this is improv, right? Somebody wants to be noticed and somebody wants to disappear. Robin, whenever you're ready, call us in. If you want all of us. Do you want all of us in? You don't have to have us all. You're the director.
I'm gonna have Brian.
Yeah.
Which Brian?
Hey, both Brians. Let's do both Brians.
Perfect.
And you guys are gonna decide who wants to disappear and who wants to be seen.
Perfect.
I'm disappearing. Do you want to be seen?
Sure. I was gonna go disappearing, so now I gotta rethink it, but I'll do it on the spot.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
Okay, whenever you're ready, you can start.
Meep meep. All right, we're here. Don't get any paint on my car. I wash this thing every day. I want you to get paint on my car.
You can't see me paintball your car.
What do you mean? You're right behind the barrier. I see you. I see your helmet.
I'm smarter than that.
Hey, owner lady, I'm gonna need you to have that guy stop pointing his paintball gun at me.
I could only do that twice.
I can't. I don't think I can see him anymore. Where'd he go? I think you did your job.
Thank you very much. I think you need some HVAC help. This car is so hot.
My car is rather hot. I'm sweating right now. Where do you think I can find a good HVAC installer?
I don't know. I think the company YB Normal. I think you ought to call them.
What's their
Hey,
number?
what's the hold up here? We should have played through this round. Why are you stopping it up here?
I'm getting a little hot. It's sweaty up in this car. I need some.
Oh, you're hot, huh? I got a HVAC unit in the back of my car, and I just put it right up in here if you want.
Yeah, does it fit? Does it fit a 1999 Suzuki?
Well, I could charge you extra for that, but we can fit anything if you want.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, hey, paintball course security. What's going on here? You trying to get people to go into your truck?
Oh, hey, no, man, this guy was hot.
I think that guy over there. I think that guy over there got some paint jammed in my air conditioner, and now it's getting hot up in this car.
You jammed something in this guy's metaphorical air conditioner? You're coming with me, buddy. You're coming with me right now.
Are you
I don't
talking
even
to
see who
me?
he's talking to.
I'm talking to you.
You can't see me.
Person, you're coming with me.
Oh.
That's really deep. You're talking to like no thing. Talking to no one.
Nowhere. No
And I'll
how.
start it again. I resign from this job.
Great job. Yay! Awesome. So that's it. How'd you feel, Brian?
I'm glad you guys gave me a couple pickups there. I got stuck in the middle, but it's a really good. Had a couple good lines thrown for me, so I took the hook and ran with it.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the idea, is that we can all do this. And it helps when we have people on our team that maybe are a little further along than we are, right? You probably have this on some of your teams, people that have been playing a bit longer, or maybe know they're experts in different aspects, and they can help you play through. Play through. Love it.
Let's level up.
Let's level
I
up.
wanted to give Brian a compliment. He did a specific. He named the name of the car, the 99 Suzuki. And a lot of times people won't think to be specific about what they're talking about. They'll be like, my car. It's like, but the more specific you are, the funnier it gets.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
He named names.
He totally did the thing. Yeah, that was a pro move, Brian. I mean, he's like really solid.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like Vague Man. You see the sketch of Vague Man on Saturday Night Live. Wasn't that a Saturday Night Live sketch? Right. Oh, do you want to come with me to the place where we can do the thing? Right. And you never mention who you are, who the other person is, what you're doing. Like, that is a really common thing that beginning improvisers will do, is they kind of put all the onus on the other person to make a decision. And you gave us all a really great gift in the specificity of your choice, because you having a very specific car gives me a nugget of like, oh, do I have a heater? Do I have an air conditioner for that? Oh, yeah, I have to kind of go through the file. Well, of course I can custom, so that was a huge gift.
Mm-hmm.
So a way that you look out for your teammates and help them look great is by giving them specifics. What do they say, Robin? Carlos, the devil's in the details, right? The funny's in the details. Yeah.
The devil's in the advocates.
Ice cream's in my mouth.
We know Brian loves ice cream. All right, so you want to play one more round?
Oh, we can do one more round.
Okay, cool. All right. So Robin, I'm going to put you back into play.
Okay.
And I'll pull the scenario. So the idea would be kind of like Cards Against Humanity, where the card czar changes. For those of you who might have played that game, the director would change. It would kind of like pass around throughout the evening. So everybody would get a chance to be kind of the caller of the show, and everybody would get a chance to be in the show if they wanted to. Now, I've also played with people. I had one lady that was very analytical style personality. This is appropriate for all people. She was like, oh, wait a second. There is points, by the way. You can score this, and I have a scorecard available for download on the website, improvagainstnormality.com, because in my tours, I found that I would say 80% of people on the tour, that's not a scientific one, but it was just kind of a majority rule, just wanted to play for fun. And then about 20% of the people were like, this woman was an example. Wait a second. Why I'm playing just to have fun? No, I want to win. I want, like, what's the point of playing to have fun? How do you win? So for her, I created a scorecard. And also my sorority girls, they were adamant about beating each other. They were very competitive. So I went out to the University of Portland. I was out in Maine somewhere, and they just really, I was in Eugene, I think, somewhere out there. They really wanted to win and beat each other. So there's a scorecard available. It's online. All right. This scenario is, you are being chased by a murderer and you found a moment to hide. You're being chased by a murderer and you have found a moment to hide. Now, what would you like? Who, what, where, why? Robin, you can pull your own.
Okay.
How about
so I'm going to be a hot air balloon pilot.
Of course you are. Of course. You absolutely should be a hot air balloon pilot. Okay. How about Brian?
Why?
Why is everything happening? People who have pierced ears disgust you.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
People who have pierced ears disgust you. Okay, my other Brian.
What?
What? So object work. Ooh, artificial flowers. Artificial flowers. Okay,
Right.
And Carlos.
I guess I'll take where. I think where is still left.
Yeah, well, you also don't have to have everything represented.
Then
right?
I'll take what?
What? I'm what?
Well,
Okay, fine. What is, oh wait, what? That's a why. What is over here? Painting a house. Painting a house. So let's review. You are being chased by a murderer, and you have all found a moment to stop and hide. We have a hot air balloon operator. We have someone painting a house, somebody that is somehow using artificial flowers, and someone that is disgusted by people with pierced ears. Ready? And action.
over here. I found the hiding hole. Everyone, tuck in.
Oh my God! Do you see that guy painting with a paintball gun? He's got disgusting. He's got earrings in his ear. Ah, God.
I see what they
Listen,
look
you
like.
guys. I told you we would be safer in my hot air balloon, but you're all wussies and wanted to come back down.
I just need some water. I'm a flower.
You're an artificial flower, Steve. You don't need water. Stop pretending.
You're a cactus. You don't need anything.
I think you're all throwing a whole lot of hot air into this. Oh no, she's flying away.
No.
Steve,
Please.
you're coming with me because you are the only one that trusted me out of everyone.
Is that your artificial
Flew
flower?
away. She took Steve with her.
I'm so
Flew
glad
away.
we
She
did.
took Steve with her.
I'm taking Steve is coming with me. We're going back to my hot air balloon and we are going to be safe. We are going to float the hell out of here.
Take us too. Don't leave us here to die.
No, you are all too scared. Oh, a scary balloon ride.
Is that a cactus I'm going to run into when I get in the air, in the plane, into the hot air balloon?
Listen, Steve, my flower, my cactus, my love.
Do I finally get some water?
And
You're not real, Steve.
yeah, so
You're not
good.
real.
So good. I love it. Oh my gosh. Like where else in the world can you go and be an artificial cactus flower? Like what, like that does not get to happen every day, right? I love it.
One that needs
So-
water too.
Yes.
Super fun. I love that was a cactus, Robin. Thanks for that. That was going to help heighten Brian's fear of ear piercing. I love that. Like prickliness. That's fun. Super fun. So yeah, that's the idea. I mean, you can play as short or as long as you want. I've brought these to like family gatherings where I think it was a holiday gathering. We had a group putting a puzzle together and also playing at the same time, because if you're not in it, you can be the audience and just enjoy the entertainment and kind of, you know, it's very loose and it can be very stringent. I'm actually looking at turning it into a game show. I think it would be super fun to like, I'm thinking Family Feud esque, right? With like maybe a panel of judges, like The Masked Singer or something, where people are evaluating the teams. So just having maybe instead of the buzzer or the where they stand behind and they guess the thing, they could have like couches and they can just pop off and do the scenes. But anyway, so that's something that's coming in the near future. Just finding teams to play with. We could probably try it virtually, but it might be better staged in person. So yeah, that's the gist. It's just getting people to play more. There are an infinite number of modifications. Sometimes I just will take a stack or a deck into like a sales team or something, and they're working on closing, or they're working on like new real estate agents or something that don't know how to talk to clients. Be like, okay, you're going to have this conversation, or you're reading this telephone script if you're into telesales or telemarketing or something, and you're going to do it like Tiny Tim. Okay, so take thank you so much for calling us here at Chase Bank. I just feel it's so important to bless each and every one of us. I think thank you so much for not being a Scrooge and putting your money with us, right? Like, so you just find a fun, silly way to make it anyway. So that's the idea, is that improv can be infused into absolutely anything that we do. And I don't know if we have time for some questions, or if you have any questions or feedback, thoughts.
Absolutely. Chat can feel welcome to drop any questions. I got a couple follow-up questions. One, what kind of people do you think should get the game for themselves?
I mean, everybody. Well, I would say, I mean, it's designed for like probably 12 and up. There are two. Yeah, I would say it's great for families, great for teams of people. So like if you're new to a team and you're wanting to build rapport, whatever the team is, could be a sports team, could be a work team. You could, and now virtually people can play with Zoom. So if you've got a lot of people working from home and they want like a fun, they're all gathering together and kind of doing a report, or so like checking in with each other or something. This could be a fun activity, like an after hours, a happy hour or something, a way to actually be humans together. I know I was going to be working with colleges and universities for student orientation for freshmen and stuff. So that's a thing. And also after school programs, summer camps, things like that. It's a great way to like, I have a workbook in process where I'm developing this as like curriculum for teachers that are looking to add performing arts into some of what they're doing. So really, really it's okay for anybody. And I know that that's kind of vague. Back to vague man.
Back to vague man. Yep. Yeah, one thing I heard in that.
Brian, Brian. So I think Brian wanted to answer that question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, to add, because I've been reading a book on play and how it expands the mind, strengthens the body, and helps emotionally and connection, and work with youth. And I was with a group of probably about 10, 20 or so something or olds, and five on each team. They went out of the room. Yes.
Is it that book?
What's the author? Brown. That's the one.
Stuart Brown. Yeah. I love it. That was the one I was going to cite. How perfect, Brian. We're already in group mind. We're connected.
Exactly. And it was amazing how people started connecting more just by all going together in a room, separate room, coming out, and we had to guess what everyone was. I didn't know that was even a possibility, but we came up with that. And it was wonderful to see how people started connecting outside of the normal, like, oh, where you from? Da, da, da. It was fun, enjoyable, creative. So many benefits from this type of work. So thank you for putting it together, Julie.
Thanks for being here, Brian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Absolutely. I love the icebreaker aspect of it. And I was going to say, kind of on that same note, obviously you touched on a lot of how it's a team builder. So I think it helps people get comfortable with themselves. It helps people get comfortable with others around them. So definitely applicable for a lot of people. One of the audience members asked, you talked earlier about how important voice is when you're not in person. Do you have any advice for people whose voice doesn't carry well over the internet? And I wanted to make a tangent note on that. That's something I did notice in our meeting tonight is when I've watched improv in person, I noticed you watch body language a lot, right? And tonight it was hard to tell, who is preparing to speak because you're not all in the same space, right? But I'll let you take the floor with the question.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So for me, I'm highly animated anyway, but I notice for film, like which in essence this is, and the thing about Zoom specifically or StreamYard or maybe even Twitch, you can see yourself, which you can't do in improv. You don't see yourself in improv. So this is a little weird. I'll speak for myself. I don't know about my other fellow improvisers. When I can see me back at me, there's another step that has to happen in my brain. It can help for someone though speaking to the voice question, because then I can give information physically instead of verbally. So I can completely react and respond to what's happening in the scenario without having to speak. Though if I wanted, and that could become a bit in and of itself, right? Like maybe every time I go to speak, somebody talks and interrupts me, or so then I would do like a big gesture to show that I'm about to talk. And then if that's the bit, if they know that I can't really talk for whatever reason, I can't, my voice doesn't communicate or whatever, that could be a way that my team takes care of me and helps me look amazing, is by, almost rescuing me, kind of, just helping me justify why I'm not talking. I could also play a mime. I could play someone who's highly emotional. Like I can't, like whatever reason I can't. So it just asks my brain to solve the problem of I can't talk. Why can't I talk? Let me give myself a bunch of different reasons. I don't know. Does anybody else have any response to that?
I'd say yes, and it gives people an opportunity to be in there. I don't have a voice, and find a voice, because this is a supportive, nurturing environment for them. And they may actually be able to get into their body and allow their more fully expressive selves come forward in this type of environment and game.
I feel like,
go ahead.
Oh yeah. It's especially when you're in a troupe doing a group scene like we were just doing. It's normally on Zoom, it's just been 2-person scenes, but in a group scene, it just makes you more aware of sharing the space with everyone else and like keeping track that every person has had a chance to contribute.
Yes, that.
Awesome.
So I don't know if we answered their question. If there was anything more specific they want us to go into, I'm happy to elaborate. But I feel, love the find your voice piece. This is a safe environment. That's something that I typically start with when I'm teaching a class. Is it's a sacred space, and I'll have people even bow in like a dojo and be like, okay, I'm going to leave my whatever story I have about myself outside the door, and then as we step onto the stage, we're agreeing to not know who we're going to be for that time together. I could literally be anything or anyone. I don't even have to play humans. Like you were a cactus flower, for goodness sake, right? Like that's what's possible. But it's not possible if I come in thinking that I don't have a voice, because then I'll just. And that's fine if we do. Maybe it's a process where we work through that, or we find a way to give that person a voice. If there's maybe been, like I was on an event this weekend where one of the speakers had voice box damage, and it sounded like it's very hard to hear him. And yet we all hung on every word that he said, and we were rooting for him to win because the information he had to share with us was super valuable. So in my experience, improvisers are a most heartfelt group of human beings, and they want you to win. Like they want to help you look amazing. And Carlos is unmuted, so I want to see what he has to say.
Oh, I just agree with everything you guys have said. You guys are spot on, man. So one other thing is, like, in a group setting, not everyone has to contribute in a given scene, just as long as anyone who wants to throw in, and it's a give and take too. People learn when they have something to contribute, and like when to you know what, it's good, and I'll just bring something back in the next scene. This scene's good, knowing when you don't have to contribute as well.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And then also, like, when Robin pulled you two in at the beginning, just the two of you, I thought it was just going to be the two of you in the scene because that's what the director had volleyed. And so when I was coming on camera, I was actually coming on camera to cut the scene, but because I thought, I didn't know if Robin was going to let it go. You guys were calling for an HVAC person. So I happened to be the HVAC person. So I was like, okay, Robin's not cutting the scene. I'm on camera now. I have one of two choices. I can either usurp her directorship or I can just show up and be the HVAC guy, right? Like, so that's what I did. And so, like, to Carlos's point, I didn't think I was needed until you literally called for it in the scene. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna be that guy because I can. So yeah, you don't always have to contribute. And if you walk on stage, you're in the scene. So like, figure it out.
In a way, you're contributing by not over contributing, not forcing something into a scene that doesn't need it. Because there'll always be another scene, there'll always be another situation where maybe, I'm going to chime in now, but there are other times where, they got it. I trust them, they got it. They don't need me. If they want me, I'll come in. If they don't need me, I'm good.
Wow.
I guess I was just assuming that my more experienced improvisers would join in the scene. I was expecting you to. So when you came in, I was like, oh, good, she's coming into the
I'm
scene.
so glad I did it. I totally knew that's what you were doing. I knew that.
Yeah, I've had it all figured out.
That's right.
Awesome. I have a question myself, and then we've got another chat question. What my question was, you talk about like having this comfortable space, having the safe space, having, helping people win. How do you think you can translate the skills outside of the stage, so to speak? How can you, like, for instance, when you're comfortable expressing yourself, maybe some people don't even have it on stage, but maybe they have it on stage and don't have it off the stage. How do you think you can gain that comfort within yourself, whether on the stage or off?
Yeah, well, you've nailed it. Why I do what I do, Brian. That is why I have taken improv off of the stage and into a transformational setting, into leadership training, into team building, into relationship building, into problem solving, conflict resolution scenarios. Because for me, into mindfulness, that's something Robin and I have done together. Mindfulness exercises where we meditate before we even improvise. Because to me, it is like improv is life, like I said at the beginning. And if we can practice letting all of the iterations of ourselves have a voice, letting all the characters that are inside of my imagination out, and I get comfortable giving them a voice, giving them some stage time. And when I go off stage, all of those voices are still in my head. They came from my head, right? So like giving myself the permission to, if I'm feeling a thing, thinking a thing, inventing the scene of my life that I'm in, and it's not working, the scene's not working for whatever reason, I can make a new choice in a second. I can be like, oh, this doesn't feel, I'm not following my fun right now. This doesn't feel expansive. I'm not heightening. I'm making my scene partner look amazing. I'm totally judging myself right now. I like in improv, I have a thing, and maybe you guys say it too. There's no such thing as failures, only variations, right? So if I'm in a scene that feels like it's failing in my real life, I just have to pick a new variation, and I can shift the entire energy of the scene. So my hope is that people would yes and each other, accept what the situation is, and bring the best version of themselves to the next moment. My hope is that people would make their scene partners look amazing. My hope is that people would get each other's back, and we would live in a world where everybody wins.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I want to just acknowledge what Carlos said before in the really listening to know, is this contributory or can this wait to the next few minutes or next scene in my life or in the improv? That's an amazing skill and valuable for connection when contribution's valuable and when it's valuable to just hold the space.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good, I don't want to cut anyone off, so feel free to let me know if you have something else to say, but I think that's a really good question, the next chat question, which I think we can end on maybe. But when you're blanking on where to go next, so you're trying to say yes and, but maybe you're blanking on where to go next, how do you kickstart your momentum so you can keep the scene going?
That is a great question. And I would love to give all my improvisers an opportunity to answer that, because I feel like we all do different things at different times. And going back to what Brian just said about listening and what Carlos said about bringing what's needed or what isn't, when it's dying. So there's a couple things. Like if a scene is dying, it's dying. And in improv, we can cut the scene, depending on the show. Like if we're in a show where it's, for some reason we've decided we're only going to have 2 characters and that's it, but it's improv, so we never make those decisions necessarily ahead of time. Maybe some players have that structure in their game, but so you can always cut the scene and stop dead. If it feels like it's dead, let it die. But then also you can let it breathe. Like we don't have to say or do anything. Like we are enough. Us human beings just showing up and being on stage is enough. So just allowing the not knowingness to be a part of the scene. And you could even just say that, man, I don't even know what to say next. And then let the next moment come from that. I don't know. What about you guys?
Brilliant.
Yeah, I do several types of improv. One is kind of a silent form of improv where we don't use a lot of talking to begin with. So I've gotten comfortable in the silence. But a great tip that Justin and Kelly, great improvisers, taught in a workshop was to find something to love about your scene partner and to tell them. So if it gets to where you're not sure where it's going, you say, I really love how decisive you are, or whatever like they're exhibiting in that scene. You can confess to them what you love about them. And that always gives you so much, of a grocery list of places to go.
Awesome.
Hey, if you're doing scenes and you're not on stage and you see that maybe one of your scene partners has run out of steam, you can always do an edit. Like Julie mentioned, you can self-edit, presumably. You can also, you can lock onto anything, just any random thing will work if you're just yes-anding, like just, grab anything and just put them together. Did you like my spaghetti? It was great spaghetti. And I think that Nixon killed Kennedy. He reminded me of that. My theory, as the sauce was in the shape of Nixon killing Kennedy, and it all makes sense. Or you can look back on something that you did, a gift that you already gave yourself, like a point of view that your character has already kind of exhibited, and yes, and through the prism of your character. So, I'm not going to dismiss what you said, and I'm going to build on it, but I'm going to build on it while not letting go of my own thing and kind of blend them together. It's like you can do that too. So if you already established a character that's like a conspiracy nut, then you can yes and with a conspiracy theory that still incorporates what your scene partner, building on that. Or if you're someone that just really likes choose your own adventure books, you can yes and, but that's your prism through a choose your own adventure book. You kind of pick something that you've already brought into the scene and like allow that to use as a mechanism to yes and with, or like really anything you say will work. But also you've already been given the tools. Like if you are yes anding, then that means that there's some kind of structure, a lattice that's already been assembled. So you're just building on that. So, just look at that lattice and what would naturally, how would you extend, how would you heighten that, what's already been said, and just pick anything that's been said and just heighten it to go further, to keep going to extremes, to nonsensical extremes, if anything.
I love that. There's also, I love this idea, and maybe the gamers, I don't know so much video gamers, but this might be fun for video gamers because depending on the game, if there is a personality to the game, right? Just imagining that personality or that character from the game, that image, that whatever, that, like you were a cactus flower, it doesn't even have to be a human image. What would happen if we put them into a different situation, right? They're here in this situation, and this situation has run out of steam. But even if you just think about, like, if I'm Tiny Tim, right? But I'm Tiny Tim like in COVID times, and I'm trying to go to the grocery store, right? Like that's going to be a very different scenario. And so all I have to do is just imagine myself in a different, like, how would Tiny Tim brush his teeth? How would Tiny Tim tie his shoes? How would Tiny Tim play with a dog? How would, like, I literally can think of anything. How would Tiny Tim play video games? You know, what would that be like for him? Because he's never even seen a TV before. You know, like, so what, like giving myself put myself in a different situation. Or like Carlos mentioned, point of view. Like right now, if I feel like my characters kind of run out of steam, what if I just let them have an emotion for a second and let them feel something for a second? Like, what would they feel? Are they bored? Well, feel bored then. That'll take you somewhere. Or would they feel angry because nothing's happening? Cool, let them feel angry. Like, so giving them, like, we can always stoke the fire. And but this also comes with practice. Like your friend's question, or the chat question is coming. This could be a brand new, like, thing for them. It's just a different way of playing, and there is structure to the play, which many of us have been doing for many, many years. But we all know how to play pretend at our core. Like, so letting ourselves be kids again, I feel like that's just such a huge part of it. Like you can't break improv, just like you can't break life.
That's awesome. I love it. There's so many more questions we could definitely ask. Like we could keep going, just like you could go with an improv scene. But I think it's a good time to plug Julie, your organization, Next Level Improv. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what you guys are looking to do in the near future, or where to find you?
Yeah, great. I love that. So if you have questions, you can reach out to me directly on Next Level Improv on Facebook. I also have an Improv Against Normality.com or on Facebook. If you want to buy a copy of the game, it's on Amazon right now. Something that I'm looking to do, and I want to give away 100 games to nonprofits. So if you guys have a nonprofit and you want, 10 games, or a case of games is 12 games, I want to give away 100 games. So reach out to me if you have a cause that you want me to send, 5 games, 10 games, a dozen games to, and I want to do that. So you can buy your own game, and then if you have a nonprofit where I can gift it, I would love to do that as well. So Carlos I don't know if Carlos or Eric/Brian or Robin have shows coming up, but we are all professional. Eric/Brian occasionally. He's a professional soul soother. But Carlos and Robin and I all perform pretty regularly. So we can, I don't know if you guys have shows coming up that you want to mention real quick.
Just had one. I don't have one set up now. Not until, there'll be the Countdown Improv Festival in August, which will be virtual. I'm sure I'll be doing things before then, but that's the next thing that I can think of.
Okay, cool. Carlos, you had a festival coming up in August too, right? That you were just accepted to?
Yeah, I do. I'm not sure if I can announce it yet.
Okay, no worries. So here's what we'll do, team. So anybody that is interested about knowing more about improv, come to Next Level Improv on Facebook, and I will make sure Robin and Carlos and even Dr. Soul Soother Brian is going to share with us. He's got a YouTube channel called Transformation Station. I know they post uplifting music and inspirational stuff there. So you can, follow us there. We'll make sure you have whatever info. Any questions that we didn't answer in the chat, feel free to either post them on Next Level or private message.
I will. I can plug one other thing. It's not my thing of a friend of mine. He puts together this weekly inner city long form improv jam on Sundays. So if you want to watch folks do improv or even jump in yourself, you can do that. It's every Sunday, and you can find it on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/intercityjam. It's the inner long form improv jam. You can look that up on Facebook as well, and they do those shows every week. So that's something if you want to try it out, or if you're an improviser and want to get some reps in, you can do that.
Great. Thanks, Carlos. I'll have to check that out. For those of you who don't know, what we played tonight was a short form game, meaning it was quick and less than like 3 to 5 minutes. Long form usually is, think more like a Seinfeld episode where they're going to improvise a 30-minute or longer set. So there's a lot more structure to that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, thanks so much, Brian, for having us on your platform here, and really honored to meet your tribe. Hopefully we'll be able to play together for your July event too. I know there's a lot of fun coming up for your events.
Yeah, absolutely. I got some exciting announcements coming up. We'll have those on Facebook on PowerUpCon that you see flashing down at the bottom. Also, we've got panels for that. Yeah, I'm just thankful for everyone to be here. Definitely, this is what Power Up is all about. You know, it's exactly improv. It's yes and. You know, we can play games and be productive. We can play games and be kind. We can play games and have fun. You know, gaming is a choice, and the way you connect with your games, the way you experience games, the way you empower your gaming experience. You know, that's what Power Up South Bend is all about, and I hope to continue to provide tools and connect all of our various communities together. Whether you want to be an improv gamer, you want to be a card gamer, or you want to be a competitive gamer, there's space for you at the table. So thanks everyone for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Bye everyone.
I thank you.
Bye.
Bye.